What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Horizon Comix. I'm the creator of Horizon Comix, Joey M. Lang. And we are officially on the penultimate day of Reveal Week. And that means that we have been introduced to 5 out of 7 of Horizon Comix' chosen pioneering superheroes, leaving only 2 more heroes to be revealed, including today's reveal. And speaking of today's reveal, some of you eagle-eyed viewers may find the silhouette of today's hero more recognizable than the rest. And if that's the case, then you probably know him from tales of Greek mythology as the herald to the gods Hermes, or known to Horizon Comix as the Messenger. There are legends in Greek mythology told of Hermes. Now let's get to know Horizon Comix' interpretation of the Messenger of the Gods. The Messenger's true name is Hermes, otherwise known by his chosen mortal guise of Herald Hermes. His age is unknown. He's 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighs 170 pounds. His powers and abilities include innate super speed, accelerated reflexes, cognition, and healing, super enhanced vision and hearing, and while wielding the caduceus, he has the ability to run on air. He has an inter-healing factor enabling him to heal others, and has possession of magic from Mount Olympus. Upon Mount Olympus, Hermes fulfilled the role of messenger to his fellow gods. For some decades now, he's secretly longed to experience life among the mortals. After spending millennia under the cruel command of Zeus, Hermes had enough, but he wouldn't abandon his post. Instead, Hermes followed his heart to find a city in need of a hero and found himself in Steel-Made City. There, he would assume the identity of Herald Hermes and the alter ego of the Messenger. Now living amongst the people of Steel-Made City, as a writer for the popular news app News to You, Herald Hermes, with the help of a new friend, watches over Steel-Made City from the top of Steel-Made Mountain. The Messenger heralds information to over 1 million News to You readers from the privacy of his new residential home, and then dons his patassos upon his head to reveal his godly garb, and wields his caduceus to not only report any arising trouble, but to also take swift action upon it. And now that we have met the Messenger, how about we talk a little bit more about the inspirations that brought this icon of Greek mythology into Horizon Comix. In terms of inspirations, Hermes to me is the link between many things that I'm very passionate about in fiction and culture. For example, in comics, I'm a huge Flash fan. I would credit him as my personal number 2 favorite hero. So innately, I love speedsters. And I'm a huge fan of mythology, not just Greek mythology. I'm talking Greek, Norse, Egyptian, Chinese, Japanese. It's all there, and it's so cool to me. I've always been passionate about it. In fact, I'm pretty sure in the 5th grade, the only time I ever paid attention was in social studies in our Egyptian unit when we learned about the Egyptian gods. And then, again, in high school, we had a unit in English class where we were studying Greek mythology. And that's when Hermes became my favorite of the Greek gods in mythology. And it wasn't because I already loved him from seeing him in Hercules, Disney's interpretation of Hercules. It's because we were all doing a project, and everybody had to pick a Greek god to study, and Hermes was the only one left by the time I got to pick. So I got to researching, I got to know the legends of Hermes, and I found myself very drawn to this figure in Greek mythology ever since. So now, anytime I see some kind of inspiration to him, for example, I look at what I think is the perfect combination, or rather the perfect crossroads between interests of the Flash and speedsters and Hermes in Greek mythology, is the original Flash, Jay Garrick, how he wears the helmet, akin to the petasus, which is the winged helmet of Hermes. I tried to style my petasos of Hermes slightly different, based on a few different sources of Hermes referenced art, just to make it a little bit different and not seem as much of, like, say, for lack of a better term, a ripoff of other inspirations in comics. Additionally, to reference the other of the big two of comics, Marvel's Thor. Uh, of course, Marvel's Thor is an interpretation of the Norse god Thor. And everybody knows now that Thor is practically a household name. He's an icon of Norse mythology, and Marvel did an absolutely, clearly successful and excellent job of telling their interpretation of this icon in a more Western comic style. So I thought I would try my hand at that by taking a figure of some kind of mythology that I'm passionate about and trying to tell a good story about them. Now, aside from the character himself, I want to touch real quick on his base of operations. I spoke earlier in the week about how I like to name my fictional townships and cities on places that I've either been to or have some kind of significance to me, such as Skyline City being Toronto, or Clipperville being my hometown of Stouffville growing up, or General City being the place I currently live in, Oshawa, Ontario. Steelmaid City is my interpretation of Hamilton, Ontario. Hamilton, Ontario is somewhere I spend a lot of my time. I am a wrestler on the weekends, and I spend a lot of time in Hamilton. I have many friends in Hamilton, many close lifelong connections I've made in Hamilton. So while I'm not from there, nor do I live there, I consider it a place close to my heart. And it actually has a mountain in the city. The mountain is a part of the city. So I figured if I'm going to place a Greek god character from Mount Olympus anywhere nearby, like anywhere in Ontario, it should be somewhere that has a mountain. And where better than a place like Hamilton, Ontario, where a mountain is actually part of the city, where people actually do live on top of the mountain, and the city does actually continue up to the top of the mountain with facilities and stores and houses and communities. So that's where Steelmaid City came from. And where the name Steelmaid City comes from is from the nickname, if you will, of Hamilton. And they call it the Steel City because they have factories that produce steel. They're well known around the country for that. And now to transition into possible stories, as I have done with all these characters this week, obviously I would have to showcase his powers and his abilities and his personality. And I think, obviously, to do that, maybe I could do a generic saving people from some generic crisis, or I could be a little more interesting than that and maybe combine that with a clash with another more malevolent god. Or I could reintroduce a classic Greek story with modern representations, similarly to, say, Batman Noel, where they retell A Christmas Carol. Or, say, in non-superhero related comics, if you know Asterius Polyp, it retells the Odyssey using characters and events in there as a metaphorical representation thereof. So there's a lot of ways I can go with this, but ultimately it's all about the right one, which one ends up being the best idea to represent this character in the best way on his debut, if he does get voted for at the end of this. And there we go. That's a wrap on day 6 of Horizon Comix Reveal Week. That's right, day 6. That's insane. We're already almost at the end of the week. Tomorrow is our final reveal. And then after that, we will be doing the voting process to find out who I will be writing about next. And I will put the minutia of that voting process either in that video tomorrow or a video subsequently following that. But with all that said, Thank you all so much for watching and participating and liking and subscribing. I really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to build this superhero universe with all you guys. So, having all that said, give us a comment, a like, subscription, hit the notification bell. And when you do comment, if you do comment, I will do my very best to get to all comments. And please let me know if you have any ideas. Like I said before, have any ideas? Please let me know. I am always open to suggestions, always open to your feedback. I really appreciate it. You can like us and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you haven't already. And with all that said, this has been day 6 of Reveal Week. I am so excited for tomorrow. And tomorrow, I will see you guys again just over the horizon.